A fire doesn't start as a monster. It begins quietly, almost politely. A spark, a small flame, a corner of a room glowing orange. But then, in seconds, everything changes. The fire stops behaving like a flame and starts behaving like an explosion. This moment is called flashover, and it is the most terrifying stage of any fire. If you're a firefighter, a safety officer, or even someone working in an office or factory, understanding flashover is the difference between life and death. Welcome to Workplace HSE Explained. Today we're diving into the science, the warning signs, and the real-world tragedies behind flashover. And trust me, once you understand what flashover truly is, you'll never look at fire the same way again. So let's begin with a simple question. What exactly is flashover? Imagine a room where a small fire is burning on a sofa. Smoke rises, heat builds, and the temperature climbs. But here's the scary part. Everything in that room, even things that aren't burning, start releasing flammable gases. The heat becomes so intense that the entire room reaches ignition temperature at the same time. And then, boom! The whole room erupts into flames in one violent moment. That is flashover. It's not gradual, it's not predictable, it's not survivable. Flashover typically occurs when room temperatures reach around 500 degrees Celsius to 600 Celsius, but the upper layer of smoke can exceed 1000 degrees Celsius. At that point, no PPE, no SCBA, no fire-resistant clothing can protect you. The environment becomes instantly lethal. But here's the real danger. Flashover doesn't look dramatic at first. It hides behind smoke. It hides behind heat. It hides behind the illusion that the fire is still small. Many victims, workers, firefighters, and bystanders never realize they're seconds away from a deadly transition. In this series, we'll break down the science behind flashover, the warning signs you must never ignore, the case studies that changed fire safety forever, and the prevention strategies that every workplace must implement. To understand flashover, you must first understand the stages of fire development. Every fire follows a predictable pattern until it doesn't. And that unpredictability is what makes flashover so deadly. Stage 1. Ignition. A spark, a short circuit, a dropped cigarette, a chemical reaction, anything that creates a flame. At this point, the fire is small and controllable. Stage 2. Growth. Heat rises, smoke forms a thick layer near the ceiling, and the fire begins feeding on oxygen. This is where danger begins. The smoke layer becomes hotter and thicker, pushing downward like a dark, toxic blanket. Stage 3. Flashover. The moment when everything in the room ignites simultaneously. Temperatures spike instantly. Visibility drops to 0. Survival time becomes less than 2 seconds. Stage 4. Fully developed fire. The entire room is engulfed. Flames roll across the ceiling. Structural materials begin to fail. Stage 5. Decay. The fire runs out of fuel or oxygen, but even here, danger remains. Backdraft can occur if oxygen suddenly enters the space. But flashover is the turning point. It's the moment when a fire becomes uncontrollable. So what causes flashover? 3 key factors. 1. Heat buildup. As the fire grows, heat radiates back into the room. This radiation heats every object. Chairs, curtains, plastics, wood, until they begin releasing flammable vapors. 2. Smoke layer ignition. The smoke layer isn't just smoke, it's a cloud of unburned fuel. When it reaches ignition temperature, it becomes a fireball waiting to ignite. 3. Radiant heat feedback. The hotter the fire becomes, the faster it heats everything else. This creates a runaway chain reaction. But here's the terrifying truth. Flashover can occur in under 3 minutes in modern rooms filled with plastics and synthetic materials. Older rooms took 20 minutes or more. Today's materials burn faster, hotter, and more violently. In the next part, we'll explore the warning signs because flashover always gives clues before it strikes. Flashover may be deadly, but it is not silent. It gives warnings, subtle, fast, and easy to miss if you don't know what to look for. These signs are the difference between escape and tragedy. Warning sign 1. Rapid heat increase. If you feel heat intensifying quickly, even without visible flames, you are in the danger zone. Flashover temperatures rise exponentially, not gradually. Warning sign 2. Rollover. This is the most iconic sign. Flames begin dancing in the smoke layer near the ceiling. These small fire tongues indicate that the smoke itself is igniting. Rollover means flashover is seconds away. Warning sign 3. Thick, dark, pressurized smoke. Smoke that pushes out of door gaps or windows under pressure is a major red flag. This smoke is fuel-rich and ready to ignite. Warning sign 4. Low visibility. As the smoke layer descends, the room becomes darker. When the smoke layer drops below head height, flashover is close. Warning sign 5. Auto-ignition of objects. If items begin smoking or glowing without direct flame contact, the room is reaching ignition temperature. Let's look at a real case study. In 2010, a warehouse fire in the UK killed 2 firefighters. They entered a room with moderate smoke, believing the fire was still in the growth stage, but the smoke layer was already superheated. Within seconds, rollover appeared. Before they could retreat, the entire room flashed over. Investigators later found that the temperature had exceeded 700 degrees Celsius. Another case occurred in a residential building in Mumbai. A small electrical fire spread to a sofa. The smoke layer thickened rapidly. Residents thought they had time to escape, but synthetic materials released massive amounts of flammable gases. The room flashed over in under 90 seconds. Flashover doesn't wait. It doesn't negotiate. It doesn't forgive mistakes. In the final part, we'll discuss prevention, workplace strategies, and the final message you must take away. Now that we understand the science, the stages, and the warning signs, the final question remains: how do we prevent flashover? Because once it happens, survival is nearly impossible. Prevention is the only strategy. Early detection systems, smoke detectors, heat detectors, flame detectors, and multi-sensor alarms must be installed and maintained. Early detection buys precious seconds. 2. Fire-resistant materials. Workplaces must avoid highly flammable synthetic materials. Fire-rated furniture, curtains, and insulation slow heat buildup. 3. Compartmentation. Fire doors, fire-rated walls, and sealed penetrations prevent heat and smoke from spreading. This delays flashover and gives occupants time to escape. 4. Ventilation control. Uncontrolled ventilation accelerates flashover. Opening a door or window can feed oxygen into a superheated room. Workers must be trained to understand ventilation risks. 5. Firefighting strategy. Firefighters use techniques like gas cooling, short bursts of water into the smoke layer, to delay flashover. But this requires training and discipline. 6. Evacuation drills. People panic when they don't know what to do. Regular drills ensure fast, organized evacuation before conditions become lethal. 7. Training workers to recognize warning signs. Every employee must know what rollover looks like, what pressurized smoke means, and why heat spikes are deadly. Flashover is not just a fire behavior concept, it is a workplace killer. It has taken lives in factories, warehouses, offices, construction sites, and residential buildings. But with awareness, training, and engineering controls, we can prevent tragedies. And now, the final message. Flashover is terrifying because it is fast, it is violent, it is unforgiving. But knowledge is power. When you understand how fire behaves, you can outsmart it. You can protect your workplace. You can save lives. This is Workplace HSE Explained. If you found this video valuable, share it with your team, your colleagues, and anyone who works around fire risks. Subscribe for more real-world safety case studies and life-saving lessons. Stay alert, stay trained, stay safe.